Boulder, Colorado has about 105,000 people. I will take you for a few minutes to a truly densely populated area, a bit more to the south, even more south than Texas. We're going to go for a few minutes to Mexico City. The metropolitan area of Mexico City has about 20 million people. What you're about to see is people coming from the closest state, which is still part of the metropolitan area. The city has a good network of subway and buses, so where the subway and the buses start, that's where people arrive. The other states don't quite have a subway, actually. So remember that beautiful Boulder has 105,000 people. Well, in this station, any given day, 820,000 people arrive. Imagine that every single person in Boulder, babies, grandpas, everybody comes to this station and multiply that times 8. Let me show you how it looks like. People arrive before dawn. No time to work out. No time to have a proper breakfast. Indios Verdes station is located in the north part of Mexico, right in the highway where the people coming from the state of Mexico arrive to Mexico City. About 800,000 people make their way from little buses to commute into better network. As you get off from your minibus or the van that brought you, then you walk through these aisles full of vendors until you get to the subway station. As an expert user of this type of transportation, I can tell you that the most important thing right now, once you are there, is to walk as if you know what you are doing.
Indios Verdes es también el punto de partida hacia prácticamente.
And this is the entrance to the subway that I used for 15 years every day. This is the Bus Rapid Transit System station, and that's the cable car station. And many buses converge in this station. I won't tell you it's pretty or pleasant. Like the textbook recognizes in chapter 19, walking from the bus to the subway, it's pretty costly. Once you're in the subway, now that's another different story. The commute is really fast, sometimes even faster than in the car. This lady is saying, "I'd rather use the subway." The fare of the subway in Mexico City is 5 pesos, which is about 25 cents of a dollar.
El metro de la Ciudad de México es utilizado por más de 4 millones de personas al día.
And here we can see one of the users, Elizabeth. She walks to the subway station and goes to her work. I understand that she only uses the subway to get back and forth, which is so efficient, of course. So she travels about 13 miles in 30 minutes, which is not bad if you recall what's the speed in megacities. In Mexico City, the subway is highly subsidized, so it costs 25 cents to go, 25 cents to come, plus the time walking. It's pretty inexpensive, so in fares is only 50 cents. Now this is the downside of the subway. Subways are very costly to build and very costly to maintain. New York City spends $1.9 billion per year. And fixing the first line of Mexico built in 1968, it's taking about $40 million to repair. There is, however, yet another option, BRT, Bus Rapid Transit Systems. First used in Curitiba, Brazil, then in Colombia, Bogota, and the third option was here in Mexico. This that you see is the third line. The BRT systems are designed to mimic rail systems. You buy your ticket ahead of time before boarding the bus. And the bus platforms are level with the bus itself, eliminating the steps required to board from traditional curbside stops. Most significantly, BRT routes use dedicated lanes to bypass traffic congestion. So they are also pretty fast, at least compared with the private car. Now, let me tell you that I live in the suburbs. I enjoy coming out every day, running my 5K in this very nice track, having hogs as neighbors, having the birds, watching the the flowers. I love it. But sometimes, every once in a while, I miss my commutes. Of course, I was younger, but I still goof around. Maybe it's a little bit of my personality. Just let me share with you a couple of anecdotes that just made life fun when I was in Mexico City. So the subway is taking forever. What's the solution? You start cheering for the subway, of course. Do you even remember this scene in Nemo? In the busiest hours in the subway to help the mob move around? Notice, they start using this hymn. There's even a kid there. So we move to the rhythm of nadaremos.
Know what you gotta do?
I don't want to know what you got to do.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
I'm sure they were tired, but there's still a little energy left for the wave. Now, as we observe this graph by Eric Guerra and Making Lee, comparing cities in Mexico and cities in the US, you can see that the likelihood of using a car in America is above 90% or 0.9 in terms of probability. So in the y-axis you have the probability, and in the x-axis you have private vehicle, transit, and active modes, which is bike and walk. And this is whether if you're rich or poor, whether if you're suburban or urban, whether if you're black or white, even though, of course, rural people use more car because of longer commutes. Low income and brown people use more cars. But still, even if we would double the amount of people biking and the amount of people walking, it's a very small change in the USA. And the reason is that American cities prioritize the use of car. They were built around the car. We need to be aware that this is not the case all over the world. Even European cities are built with other patterns, not to mention Africa, Asia, Latin America. The United States, it's a unique case. And it is important that we recognize our uniqueness to create adequate policies while considering that the rest of the world will consume way less energy in commuting due to the way their urban environment is built.